starting stage. It's Real Sports Talk with Kenny Kluska on the Damage 365 Radio Network.
Why, hello there, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Real Sports Talk with Kenny Kluska. Of course, I'm your host, Kenny Kluska, here for the 81st time. That's right, we're up to episode number 81. Of course, all my old episodes can be archived, so, tune in whenever you like, if you missed any. Of course, as you know, the show usually airs at 5 p.m. Eastern Time on Sundays. Today I'm on approximately a little more than an hour and a half early due to my fantasy football draft being today. Can't miss that. I'm excited for it. Even though my track record shows fantasy football is definitely my weak point when it comes to fantasy sports. Last year in baseball I won. Last season in basketball I won. Football's a different story though. Didn't make the playoffs. Made some bad picks like Nelson Aguilar is one of the first that comes to my mind. Then rookie wide receiver for the Philadelphia Eagles. Made a finish with like 220 receiving yards. Also drafted Jamal Charles, who got injured 4th or 5th week of the season, missed the rest of the year. My one shining pick was Cam Newton, of course, MVP of the league, one of the best fantasy performers of the year. Hopefully I do better this year. Baseball and basketball's always been my specialty, though. Football, I just can't do as well. But you would think with my track record in baseball and basketball, hey, ESPN, if you're listening, why don't you hire me? My track record, I could help other people win their fantasy baseball and basketball leagues. Definitely give me a call. I'd love to write articles for you guys. But anyhow, enough of that. Let's get back to the show. As I mentioned on a little earlier, definitely become a follower of the show here on Spreaker, so you always know when I'm on the air. As I mentioned, normally 5 p.m. Eastern Time on Sundays. Sometimes things turn up where, I have to go on earlier or later. If you're a follower, you'll always know when Real Sports Talk with Kenny Kluska is on the air. Hit that follow button, please. Thank you. Anyhow, let's get started. Here are some things that are coming up shortly in the world of sports. We are 11 days away from the 2016 regular season opener in the NFL. Between the two Super Bowl competitors. Back in February, the Carolina Panthers at the Denver Broncos. Looks like Marcus Semien will be the starting quarterback for the Denver Broncos. Looks like Mark Sanchez won't even make the team. It's really between Semien and Paxton Lynch, their first-round pick of this year. Semien was a 7th-round pick the previous year in 2015, but he's been starting the preseason game, so it looks like he will get the first crack, to start under center for the defending Super Bowl champions. That's in 11 days. Of course, the first Sunday of NFL football is 2 Sundays from today, 14 days away. Also 14 days away is WWE's next pay-per-view. This is a SmackDown exclusive pay-per-view. Backlash. Currently, a few matches have been announced on the card. Main event being the WWE World Heavyweight Championship match between the champion Dean Ambrose and the challenger AJ Styles. Should be an interesting match. Our first ever SmackDown Women's Champion will be crowned. It will be crowned through a six-pack challenge that will take place at Backlash. 6 competitors are Natalya, Naomi, Becky Lynch, Nikki Bella, Carmella, and Alexa Bliss. And we also have the new SmackDown Tag Team titles. The first ever winners of that will, be crowned at Backlash. Tournament is currently going on SmackDown, so we will find out probably in 2 Thursdays who will be in that tag team title match at Backlash. We are 37 days away from the American League Wild Card game, 38 days from the National League Wild Card game, and 58 days away from the beginning of the 2016 World Series. A lot of races going on. The pennant race is heating up. A few divisions, pretty sizable leads in the AL West, the Texas Rangers, the NL East, the Washington Nationals, and in the NL Central, the Chicago Cubs. Those 3 teams looking safe to say that they will win their division, barring a collapse. Other tight races, though, we have in the American League East going into today. The Toronto Blue Jays have a slim 1-game lead over the Red Sox and a 3-game lead over the Baltimore Orioles, and I believe 5.5 over the New York Yankees. AL Central, Cleveland has, a decent cushion, a 4.5-game lead over the Detroit Tigers, and the NL West, the LA Dodgers have a 2-game lead over the San Francisco Giants. In the AL wildcard race right now, Boston has the first wildcard spot. They are 2 games ahead of the current second wildcard spot in the American League, the Baltimore Orioles. Behind the Orioles, the Tigers are 1 game behind. Excuse me. The Astros and Mariners are 2 games behind. The Yankees are 2.5 games behind. And the Royals are 3 games behind. So still a lot of teams in the American League still fighting for a postseason berth and, making this last month of baseball very exciting. NL, still a bunch of teams as well. We got the Giants currently owning the first wild card spot. They're a game and a half above the second wild card spot in the NL. The St. Louis Cardinals. Then we have the Pittsburgh Pirates and Miami Marlins, both a game and a half behind the Cardinals. And the New York Mets, 2.5 behind the Cardinals. Mets have been fairly hot, as have the Pirates. Marlins still trying to stay afloat, even with the loss of Giancarlo Stanton. So definitely an interesting last month of the Major League season left to be played. Which of those teams will earn a postseason berth, we will find out in approximately a month. We are 45 days away from the NHL season opener. There will be 4 games taking place on the regular season opener in hockey. 13 days after that, 58 days away from the NBA regular season opener. There will be 3 games taking part that day, including 2 fairly marquee matchups. The new look New York Knicks are at the defending world NBA champion Cleveland Cavaliers, and Golden State Warriors, fresh off their NBA record 73-win season, where did not culminate in an NBA championship, as they held a 3-1 lead before losing 3 in a row to the Cavs and losing in 7 games. Of course, they now have Kevin Durant added to, what was a pretty ridiculous roster even before that. They are at home against the San Antonio Spurs. First game in a long time without Tim Duncan on the roster. They have replaced him with Pau Gasol. So definitely expect them to be near the top of the standings once again, like they always are. So that's what's coming up in sports. As I mentioned, in 2 Sundays will be the first Sunday of NFL football. But 2 weeks from now, you will not be seeing Tony Romo under center for the Dallas Cowboys. I'm sure every NFL fan has heard by now. In their last preseason game against the Seattle Seahawks, he suffered a compression fracture of his L1 vertebrae. He will be out approximately 6 to 10 weeks. Now we will have Dak Prescott taking over. He will start the Week 1 game against the New York Giants. Dak Prescott was a 4th-round pick this year, so a rookie 4th-rounder, starting Week 1 game, 135th selection overall, out of Mississippi State. Had a very good 2015 season for them, completing 66.2% of his passes for 3,793 yards, 29 passing touchdowns, and only 5 interceptions. Preseason, he's been pretty much the talk of the preseason. 39 for 50, 78% completion percentage, 454 yards, 5 touchdowns, and no interceptions. He will become the 4th rookie quarterback for the Cowboys to start Week 1 of his rookie season, and the first since Quincy Carter did it in 2001. Of course, Cowboy fans hope that he has, more of a noteworthy career than Quincy Carter did. Cowboys have struggled without Tony Romo since he took over in Week 8 of the 2006 season. In games he hasn't played, they are 7-20, and they really took a hit last year when Tony Romo missed much of the season, as they went 1-11 when he was absent from the lineup. Hopefully they're hoping that Dak Prescott leaves them better prepared for, play without Tony Romo. They tried a few guys last year, including Matt Castle, Brandon Weeden, none of them, Kellen Moore, none of them really worked out, as shown by their 1-11 record without him. And, they went from NFC East champs to last place in the NFC East. So they're hoping Dak Prescott can mature fast and be a threat for the team, and help them win games, because it looks like they will be without Tony Romo for a while. Also 36 years old now, has suffered a bunch of injuries throughout his career. Even when he does come back, will we see the Tony Romo we've been used to seeing for the past decade? Only time will tell. Can Dak Prescott replicate what he has been doing in the preseason? Probably not likely, but he could still be a solid enough quarterback. They have a good offensive line. Drafted Ezekiel Elliott at running back, which should help relieve some of the pressure off him. Of course, has a stud wide receiver in Dez Bryant to throw the ball to, as well as tight end Jason Witten. So we'll see if the Cowboys will, suffer that much without Romo, or if Prescott could continue the magic he's showing in the preseason. And, speaking of Prescott being drafted in the 4th round, kind of a late selection. After this commercial break, I'm going to take a look at some of the more notable quarterbacks who have been drafted late in their respective drafts, who have gone on to have, who went on to have pretty good careers in the NFL. So we'll get to that right after this commercial break.
The following announcement has been paid for by the New World Order.
Hello, this is the intrepid traveler, Paul London. Good journey, y'all. When you're ready to whip your rock out, do it with Coach Kev at Damage 365 Radio.
Esposito's Pizza and Pasta. Check us out at one of our fine locations, 930 Route 34 in Matawan, New Jersey, or 230